All right, hello, my friends, Game Boy Geek. Let's test this out. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I have the chat window open. We'll just make sure all the audio and video is working here. All right. Can you all hear me? Can you all see me okay? Type me in the chat if you can hear me all right. All right. I see Stephanie and hi from Greg. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, you can hear and see me. That's good. All right. Fantastic. Well, it's the first one. So first of all, okay, good. Looks and sounds good. So first of all, I want to thank everybody. This is the first live Q&A that I'll be doing. I'll be doing 12 of them over the next season. Thanks to all you Kickstarter backers that got us to the rewards, the extra level, the stretch goal that allowed us to get here. So here we are. It's been a long road over the last few years, and then even just getting up to this point, trying to get all the equipment and things ready to do the live stream. I've been trying all different ways to try to get my good camera to work with the live stream, and there's been a lot of technical difficulties when you're using a DSLR, not a normal video camera, to make it all work. There's extra software you got to buy. There's different things you got to do in order to make it all working. So I'm glad you guys are all here, and thanks for joining. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and post them in the chat room. I'm looking at those from time to time. I also have the ability, let's check and make sure this works here. I'm going to be switching to a website here. Can you guys type me in the chat room if you can see this okay? I just switched to, hey, Happy Salmon, one of the reviews I just did today. If you have not seen that review, go check it out. It's something else. We did a playthrough with about 5 or 6 of us, with this Happy Salmon crazy party game, and it's hilarious. I was just bringing it up, and I'm scrolling up and down, so I'm able to switch back from that and switch back to me. So there we go. Testing all the technology out here. So good. So what questions might you guys have for me in here? So it sounds good. Everyone's saying, yes, it sounds good. Perfect. Excellent, and everybody can see the site. So that little video switching is working well too. I hope to incorporate different things of technology into here as well, so that if someone asks me a question and I need to look something up, you can look it up with me, and I'll be going on and searching for things, and maybe sooner or later we may have another guest on or something like that, and maybe I'll be able to have him on video there as well as part of the window with me. All right, so good. Everyone can see everything. What about questions? Any questions coming out there? We've got quite a bit of reviews coming out this week. Some smaller games. My niece was in town last week, and so I got to play a lot of little card games with her and such. Although tomorrow night we're going to be doing some play testing, and I see 2 games down here that are rather long. That's going to take a while to set up and a while to play, and so we're going to be trying to get some bigger reviews there. I'm trying to get through my pile to Origins. It's coming up in June. I mean, it sounds far away. Summer sounds far away, but it's really not. It's just a couple months away now. And so, once that comes out, the convention season starts, the games are going to start coming in like crazy. And quite honestly, I'm still a little backlogged from the Essen and BGG. So there's many people that have still been waiting to have their games reviewed by me, and I've been putting out almost 5 or 6 or sometimes 7 reviews a week, which is a ton. It's about 30 hours worth of work to do that amount of content, and I still have about 35 games in my queue that I'm trying to get through and get done before all the new games start coming in here. So you'll see a lot of the smaller ones. Sometimes I'll just sit down in one big session, do a bunch of those, and do it again, and then just push those all out. So someone says Villanova or North Carolina. Well, I do like basketball. North Carolina helped me win my pool this year, so I got to go for them. But I do like underdogs. So even though North Carolina helped me win the pool, I always got to root for the underdog. So let's go Villanova. Someone asked me, have I played the newest Time Stories? And by newest, I assume. Okay, well let's see here. So to newest to North America is Prophecy of Dragons. And that one I did play. I did do a non-spoiler review of that. You can go see that on the website. By the way, while we're asking this, someone's asked me a question about this, just to show you if someone. So someone asked if I've played it. So one of the cool things that I've added to my website is a search. So you can be seeing my website right now, and let's try. Prophecy, let's see, or Time Stories. Let's see, we can search and see if we have any Time Stories there. Look at this. I just searched Time Stories Prophecy of Dragons. So if you ever want to know if I've reviewed something, just go to GameBoyGeek.com and use that little search and it will bring it up. And here it goes, and there's the review for Time Stories. Also, so there's the latest one. So Prophecy of Dragons, I have reviewed it. I have played that one. I'm not going to spoil that there. Go ahead and watch that review now that you know it's there. Also, if you're on my site, a table comes up and you can use your typical Control F will bring up any search functions in any browser, and you could search for things there and it'll bring up all the Time Stories. You can also sort on the website. So here at the very top, there's different things here. So there's the names, there's ratings, there's publishers, designers, years, and you can use these to actually sort on these things. So here's ratings. If I want to sort on ratings, you just click it one way, it sorts one way, you search, and you do it another way. So here you can see all my highest reviewed games. So if you're thinking of wondering if I've ever reviewed anything, just go to my site, GameBoyGeek.com. Either just search the page itself, because it will search that table, or use the search feature here. So that's that one right there. So yes, I have played Prophecy of Dragons. That's the newest one in North America. Go watch the review for that. Now, the other question is, there is another one that has come out, and that's or it is coming out. It's called Under the Mask, and from what I've heard, it's just come out in Europe, and it will be out in America. It's not, or North America. It's not quite certain when, because Prophecy of Dragons got delayed by about a month, maybe a little more than a month. So people aren't sure if they're going to keep that delay. Because they just released Prophecy of Dragons just a few weeks ago, and we're not sure if they're going to delay another month so there's a good gap between them two, or if they're going to send Under the Mask right over. I have not played that one yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Someone asked me, how do you organize the games in the background? As you can see, they're still kind of blurred out there because of the way that I have my camera set up on purpose. I don't really organize them in any way other than how it looks. So I tend to, when I got the new shelving here, what I did was I set it up, and I liked that look of having some of the ones that have the really interesting artwork be facing out, standing up. Obviously, it's not an efficient way to store your games, but I really like the way it looks. It really makes you feel like you're in a game store when you come here. But I don't do that for all of the shelves. I have, 1, 2, 3, 3 shelves. 1 above all these and 2 below that are just stacked like normal. But the 3 main shelves all the way looping around on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bookshelves are lined like this. And the way I've organized them is really mostly just by look. I've used color palettes. I've used cartoony artwork goes together, then historical sort of artwork goes together. And I've done it more of just a way to look. I've thought about different ways of organizing it. Hey, let's put all the deduction games over here, and then let's just put all the worker placements over here. And the problem is that, number one, is I'll get it set up, and then sometimes I'll need to move things, right? So more games come, I can't fit them, I got to open a new shelf, and now I got a whole shelf that has 1 game on it for a certain thing. Or maybe another problem I have with that is a lot of games just have a lot of different mechanisms these days. Something might be worker placement, but it might also be this, it might also be this. Well, where do you put that one? So I've thought about putting all of this sort of type of games together, but in the end, it's not that big of a room. People look at this on video, and I always hear, whenever people come over here, the first thing they say when they walk in the room, they go, "Oh, wow, this is a lot smaller than it looks on video," right? And you've heard that in the movies, that things are always a lot bigger on film than they really are. If you've ever gone to Warner Brothers Studios, or I've taken a tour of that, and going there and seeing the studios, you are mesmerized by how small things really are, but they make them look big. And that's sort of the trick I'm playing with you with this camera. This room is tiny. It's like 10 by 12. And once these bookshelves are in, it's small. And so that's it. I've organized them in just different ways to look cool, but I haven't ever really totally organized them like that. Let's see. How much time do you spend gaming? It depends on the week. I guess you need to define gaming as actually playing the game, right? Because, to do a review for a game, there's a lot into it that people don't realize, right? Okay, you get the game in the mail. What do? You get the game, you unwrap it. You take the cellophane off, you take it out, you punch the boards out, you get the components together. I typically, at that point, will read through the little setup and see if is there a way that will help me get this to the table faster when people get here? Should I bag all of the green components together, or does it not matter? Are there starter cards versus not starter cards? So when I get a game in, I unwrap it, I look at the rules, I punch everything out, and I try to see is there a way to put everything together, and then it's there, right? So then it's ready to hopefully be played. I call it prepping the game, kind of getting everything ready. Then there's the reading the rules. I know that some reviewers can read really fast, and some of them like to learn as they're playing the first time with their groups of people. I take a different approach. I try to be very well prepared when people come over, that I've already read the rules probably 3 times at least, and have the rule book in front of me when I'm getting ready to teach the game, because almost always when we first sit down to play it the first time, I've never played it before. And I don't try to stumble through the rule book for the first time. I try to have a pretty good understanding of how the game works. I can teach the game without having ever played it before. And so there's a lot of prep time there too. I mean, reading through a rule book 3 times and doing it in your head does take a few hours. So I'd say, so you got probably 30 minutes to prep a game. You've got probably at least an hour reading the rules a few times. And then you've got the playing the game. And depending on how long the game is, of course, and how many times you're going to play it till you feel like you want to review it, you've got that. And so all that is sort of gaming. Now, gaming itself, again, it depends on the night. Some nights we'll game twice a week, and I'll film all the rest of the week, and other times I'll have more filming and less playing. It just depends on how many games we've played, how many games that I have played that I haven't yet shot, versus how many that I still need to play. And so it just kind of depends. But I'd say at the very least, we're playing games probably 10 hours a week, and that's just, between the playing and the prepping and stuff like that at the very least. Usually more. I tend to also split up my time between game reviews and non-game reviews. So 90% of my time is spent doing, or it's probably 95% of my time is spent playing games I'm going to review. And I've really wanted to try to play games that I love, that I've already reviewed. So about once a month, maybe twice a month, we have a get-together. And I bring a few people over here, and we play anything. We call it open gaming. We basically just play any games that we want, and that allows me to get back there and play some of the games that I've loved, because usually once I'm done reviewing it, it goes on the shelf, and the priority is for me to get to new reviews, so I don't get to play a lot of the games that I love very often, so we try to do that. So if I have 2 review nights and an open gaming night, I mean, that's 18 hours of gaming right there. But again, gaming itself is kind of different as opposed to prepping, getting ready, filming, and all that sort of stuff. Let's see, what else do we have here? Am I going to Gen Con this year? Have I ever been? Yes, this year I plan on going to Gen Con. I will be there. Gen Con is, the biggest convention in the United States. It's in, I believe it's in August this year. They've kind of moved it around the last couple of years. It's in Indianapolis, and it's from Thursday through Sunday. And it's quite crazy. If you've never been, I say everyone should experience it once, even if it's just for the experience. If you like conventions where you're going to sit and play and hang out with your buddies and just be relaxed, this is not the convention for you. This is the convention with mass hysteria, crazy cosplay going on everywhere, 60,000 people, a gigantic exhibitor hall, having very important, popular designers coming from Europe, publishers coming from Europe. If you've never been there, I say everyone should experience it once. Even if it's not your thing, you should go just for the spectacle of it. Because I will say, it's not my favorite convention, but as a reviewer, I really do have to be there. I missed it last year, and I do regret it heavily. I had some vacation time. I didn't have enough to go to all the conventions I wanted to do, so last year I went to Dice Tower Con in lieu of Gen Con, and I had a blast at Dice Tower Con, but I really missed getting all the newer reviews. I was a little bit later than most of the reviewers on a lot of the stuff that came out at Gen Con, so I don't want to miss that again. So I am going. I'm going this year. I'll be there Thursday through Sunday. And if you've never been there, you should definitely go because it's a treat. There's like this, I don't know how to explain it. If you've ever been to like a concert or a live event of something that you've been really looking forward to, and it's just a big event, and you've heard people say like the air is electric, like there's just this buzz over the crowd, over the feeling over there, and that's very much how I feel when I'm at Gen Con. When you're walking around, there is this buzz and electricity in the air that I don't ever think I've felt at any other convention period. So I do recommend everyone going. I will be there. Do I have a Grail game? Yeah, okay, let's see. Do I have a Grail game? Yeah, so how I kind of got back into the hobby was when I was a kid, I played a game from TSR called Dungeon. And this was a game where you, very simple, sort of roll and move. You're moving and you're rolling to beat monsters. You know, there was a thief and a warrior and, you know, a wizard. And you'd go around these different levels, and you'd kill the guys, and you'd get some treasure, and then you'd level up, and you'd go to the next level, and you're trying to get the most treasure and go home. It's a very easy game. Well, about 6 years ago, so they started to Wizards of the Coast reprinted it, and I just happened to have been like on eBay looking for a used copy of the old version from the late 70s, early 80s that I played as a kid, and I saw some on eBay, and I was like, "Ooh, this is cool." But then in searching for that, I found out that they were just reprinting a new version of it. So I bought it, and I brought it home, and I played it, and I was like, oh, this brought me back to being a kid. Now, they had made some changes to like some of the ways things worked that I didn't like as much, but it still brought me back to being a kid. I was so excited about having that Christmas, I went over to my brother-in-law's house in California, and I brought it, and he's sort of a dungeon crawling fan. So, and this is very light. This is a family game. And I brought it over there, and we played it. And he's like, yeah, this brings me back to my childhood too. Let's play this. And he brought out Forbidden Island. And I immediately fell in love with Forbidden Island. I got off the plane coming home from that Christmas. On the way to my parents' house from the airport in Phoenix, I stopped at Barnes & Noble and picked up a copy of Forbidden Island. We played it there. I played it with everybody. And I'd say that's pretty much my Grail game that got me back in this hobby was Forbidden Island. I love it so much. I've used it in so many instances. We actually, just 3 weeks ago, we were doing interviews at my work for engineers, and it is the second interview test. We actually play and film us playing Forbidden Island with the engineers because it shows their team building activities, shows how quickly they pick up on new concepts. It shows how well they verbalize things. Do they try to take over the room? Do they not talk a lot? And even so we use it a lot. So that is just the game I love, one of the most, and it's one of my Grail games there, is Forbidden Island. Favorite country that I've visited out of the United States. So as an engineer, I've traveled to a lot of countries all over the world. Favorite, jeez, that's a tough one. I go to France quite a bit because the company I work for is based out of Paris. And France is just an amazing. It's either France or Taiwan. For the Europe side of things, I really love France the most. The Eiffel Tower blew my mind. I didn't expect it to be that impressive, but when you're standing under it and then you go up it, it really is a lot more impressive than I ever thought it was going to be. I love the art culture there. I love the jazz culture there. I love the history. Really cool thing there in France. Plus, if you get out of Paris and you go to Normandy, we saw the beaches, went on Omaha Beach, went through there. That was an amazing experience. It was chilling to go through there and see all the grave sites from World War II. Then you've got all the vineyards out in the thing. So France is probably up there. And then for the Asian side of things, Taiwan is probably my favorite. It's just so fun there watching all the people go around on the scooters. And the people are so overly friendly there. They love to laugh. They love to giggle. And it's just a very fun culture to be in. So probably Taiwan and France are probably the two favorite countries. What is my favorite Euro? Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd have to say still probably Power Grid. I don't get to play it as much as I'd like because it's a little longer than most of the games that I play, but I'm always down to play Power Grid. I do like it best with 3 or 4. I don't enjoy it 5 or 6. It's just, for me, it's too long. I'd rather just play it with 3 or 4. I think it works fine with those player counts, and it's not too long. And I really just love the aspect of the auction mechanism works so well, and the turn order is so important. the route building and blocking people out of certain spots is important. Maybe messing with resources or taking too many so other people can't get it. There's just so much in that game that I absolutely love. And so, yeah, for me, it's got to be Power Grid for my favorite Euro. Somebody asked, any advice for first-time gamers to big conventions such as Essen or Gen Con? Now, I haven't been to Essen yet, but I would assume the same advice goes. This is what I would say to you. When you're going to a convention like that, leave your schedule as open as possible. That's rule number one. Especially at Gen Con, they have all these events you can sign up for. Ooh, we're going to do this at this time and do this at this time, and we can get a generic event pass and go to this. I would pick maybe one, maybe two of the most highest events that you want to see. Like maybe there's a podcast that you want to see live, something like that. I would like maybe do one or two events that you're planned. The rest leave open, because what you'll find is when you get to conventions, it's really, if you've ever been to Vegas, I mean, you go to Vegas and you're in the casinos, there's no clocks anywhere, and you snap your fingers, you've gotten up, it's 10 in the morning, you're down there, and you blink your eyes, you haven't eaten yet, and it's 6 o'clock at p.m., and time flies, and it happens at these big conventions. So I would say don't make any plans for anything, maybe one event. That's rule number one. Number two, carry a backpack with a water bottle that you can refill somewhere while you're in there. Bring some snacks, bring some granola bars, bring some, some trail mix, something to eat, because again, the time's going to fly so fast. You're going to go out there, the lines for the trucks and the places are going to be so long. You're going to need to snack maybe when other people are lunching so that the lines die down, they can get something there. So bring a backpack with some snacks. Bring good shoes to walk in. You're probably going to walk almost 10 miles a day at Gen Con. And that's not, when I wore my pedometer, that's about what we walked. So comfortable shoes, a change of shoes, change of socks. So I'd say those are the biggest things for going to Gen Con or a big convention. How many games do I have in my collection right now? I keep my BGG profile, which is DKingNU. So let's see here. Let's go check. Shall we? Let's check out this thing here. So let's go here, and I'll go to my collection. I keep it pretty up to date. There's maybe some review copies that I haven't listed yet. But let's go here. So let's see. The way it does it in BGG is this 457 number actually adds expansions in. So let me subtract out the expansions. 373. So, and it's probably give or take maybe 5 or 10 at the most that maybe I haven't updated, that I've gotten rid of, that I just sold recently or gave to friends, or ones that I have, ones that I still have not put in that I've got to review. So about 375, I'd say. And I'm at the point, even though I just recently got new shelves, I'm not really taking in more games than I used to. I still, to this day, I mean, there have been some games that I've really liked lately that I've reviewed, and I really like them. But I'm probably just not going to keep them because, I want to keep my shelves looking the way they look. And the biggest thing for me is I still can't play all the games that I want to play. I have more than one game per day. If I played just one different unique game per day in a whole year, I still couldn't play all my games. So I'm really only keeping things that either A, do something so unique that nothing else has done it and I just want to have it for that reason, or B, I just absolutely love the game so much that it's like a 9 or higher for me, or 3, it suits a need or a niche that I don't quite have. It's just, hey, this would be good for this, I have some, so it just depends, but I try not to keep too many more now, so I'm keeping less and less. Let's see, someone's asking me, have I ever played any legitimately good educational Christian games designed to teach biblical concepts? Are there any companies out there making them? I know Cactus Games used to make them. The most recent Christian game that I played that I really liked was Commissioned. I did do a review of this lately, so you can go look it up. It's kind of like Pandemic in reverse, where instead of the disease spreading, the disease are spreading and you're trying to get the disease to stop spreading. In that game, you're actually the apostles, and you are actually spreading the church, like about the time of the book of Acts, and you're trying to spread that out. And so that's an interesting one. That's probably the best recent one. I've heard good things of Kings of Israel. I've heard good things about Journeys of Paul, which is an older game. I haven't played either of those. I have played the Settlers of Catan religious version called Settlers of Canaan, which I actually like better than Catan, because there's that building of the wall aspect, which gives you a whole different point structure. But those are a few. I would check out Commissioned and Kings of Israel. Let's see. What do you think the best way to organize Marginal Legendary is? Yeesh. You know what? I'm not going to be able to figure that one out because I don't even have that game. The next one is, I can't help you on that one. The next one is, do you like Origins if you've gone? I have not gone to Origins yet, but I've heard obviously very good things, especially from the Secret Cabal guys and Rodney Smith from Watch It Played. I might sneak in there for a day this year. The week after Origins, there's a convention. Let me bring this up. So I'm going to bring up the website here. You should be able to see my website. So here we are, Icarus Tours. So Icarus Tours is coming, and this all has to do with Origins, believe me. Icarus Tours is putting on Rocky Mountain Gaming Vacation. They've done some other ones like Teton Con. Basically, it's a gaming vacation where most of the day you're out doing things like hiking, biking, taking gondola rides, or going ziplining, or going whitewater rafting, or doing cool things during the day. And at night, they have people there. They have a gaming library. They'll help teach people new games. And you can game all day long if you want, but the majority of people are going out during the day and then gaming at night. And myself and Mike Fitzgerald are being brought here as special guests this year, and I'm really looking forward to this because this is a gaming vacation that I'm able to bring my wife. Here's Mike Fitzgerald, Dan King. Yay, we're going. And so this is something that we're going to that I'm really excited about. Now, this is going to happen the week it starts the Sunday that Origins ends. And so what's going to happen is, I'm going to try to get to Origins, even if it's just for one day, because I do know that Origins does have not a whole lot of new game releases, but I know that the games that do show up to Origins are typically there's a small quantity of them. And I also know that they're usually air-shipped in, which means the regular copies won't be there for another month and a half usually. So I might fly in and try to get some of the review copies of the ones that are actually coming out at Origins, and then leave and go to the other convention and then play those that week. So I might go to Origins this year, but if I do, it's going to be a quick stint. It's going to be in and out. I probably won't be there for the whole thing. Maybe one day, 2 tops, but we'll see about that. I do look forward to going because it is one that I've heard great things about. Sort of a mix between sort of like a Gen Con and a smaller convention there. All right, let's see what else we've got. Someone said they purchased it and planning to play Time Stories for the first time after watching a review for it. Any tips getting the most out of the experience? Sure, so if you haven't played Time Stories before, and it's your first time, here's what I'd say. If you can, I would say try to play the whole thing in one big sitting. And I've heard some people hate that, but the people that have said they've hated it started it really late, and then ended at like 3 in the morning, and they were so tired their brain couldn't work and they didn't have a good experience. I would say I've played it both ways, where we've broken it up and done little 90-minute jaunts and put it away and come back. And I've done the whole thing where we've played 4 and 5 hours. The last 2, we've played the whole thing. And both times it took 4 hours of gameplay, about 5 total hours because we stopped for lunch usually in the middle. And I would recommend that to be the best way to do it for a couple reasons. Number one, if you play it like 90 minutes and you stop, even if you're taking notes, when you come back, you really have lost a lot of the sense of the immersion. You've lost a lot of the recall of some of the things that have happened, and it kind of displaces you in the story. It kind of takes you out of it a little bit. So I would say try to play it all in one sitting if you can. Allow 5 hours to do that if you can. Another thing is the rules aren't so specific on note-taking, but I would highly recommend, for me, the note-taking ability is part of the fun. Actually, it's a lot of the fun for me. The reason why I like this game so much is it reminded me of a computer game called Myst. And with that game, you're going around these beautiful worlds. You're finding a door with a keypad, and you don't know what the code is, so you go somewhere else and you find it. And you're kind of like drawing out your map. When I played Phantasy Star and Final Fantasy IV back on Nintendo back in the old days, in the 90s and the late 80s, there'd be these labyrinths that you're going through, and I used to actually draw them out and draw out how do you get, I would draw out the map of the dungeon of where different things were, and I loved it. It was fun, and I had a map. And for me, writing down the clues and where I found certain things and what goes to what, and if I get this ties to this room, and I get this, and I can go there, and drawing that out for me really solidified how fun it was to play the game because number one, if you do break it up into different groups, you're going to need to take notes anyways. But if you're playing all the way through, it will still help you in between runs. You're going to stop, you're going to look at your notes, and you're going to say, okay, what should we do? Should we go explore new stuff? Or what things from our last run do we really need to get? Okay, well, we need to get that and that. Okay, well, do we need to get them first? Do we need to get this? And it really helps with the planning. So I'd say play it all at once and take good notes. And also, another thing is, make sure you follow the rule that says when you read the card, you put it down and you tell your story. Do not read from the card. It will ruin the game. The game is found and really lives inside of everybody else that's telling you the stories of what they found. So I would do that. Even if you're fighting a monster, you look at the monster, put them down, and then put the little tokens. Don't let anybody see it. It adds to the aura that you've seen a card that no one else has seen. So that's what I would do for time stories. How am I enjoying the Dice Steeple? I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Podcasting is a different animal. I'm not sure if you guys know. Let's talk about podcasting in general first. Let me switch over to the screen here. So, podcasting. On my website, you can go to podcast. And on podcast, there's a link to both the Dice Steeple and my normal podcast. So here is a link to an RSS feed if you use Android or a non-Apple and you want to subscribe to my normal podcast, my board gaming podcast. That's an RSS feed that you can get. And if you have iTunes, you can just search for Game Boy Geek. That podcast, if you go to just podcast.gameboygeek.com, we'll bring that one up. This is the stream that you'll be getting in your podcatcher. What this is my podcast right now. Here is basically it's the intro and my final thoughts of a review. And I cut out all of the overview because when you're listening to it, it's not going to make any sense by just trying to picture what the heck I'm showing you. So every single review, every single video I put out, I spend about the extra 10 minutes that it takes to chop it up and upload it and tag it on a podcasting network, my own podcasting network. And so I first of all, I encourage you to go to that. Even that, and setting that up and getting that going and getting the feeds was a lot of work, but I'm glad the ground is laid because later on, as I'm able to spend more time, and if I'm able to kind of hopefully do this full time in the next few years, I'll be able to do a full board game show that's not just reviews. Now you asked about the Dice Steeple. I do that too. On my podcast link on my website, you can go to the Dice Steeple, and this is a podcast that I do with Sam Healy from the Dice Tower. And it's about faith and gaming and also how to bridge the gap between different worldviews. And so this is an interesting conversation that we've had. Is Luck was one of the recent ones. That was a really good episode. We had one where the designer from Heartland talked about refugees coming from Iraq going into Germany and how they've been playing games with them. So some really good stories. My favorite episode is the one with Bruno Feduti, where he had some very interesting comments he had mentioned on a blog about how different things scare him. So we talked about games for about 20 minutes, and then we talked about his worldview for 20 minutes. And we have very different opinions, but it was excellent to respectfully have a great conversation with Bruno Feduti. So the Dice Steeple itself, that's what that is if you don't know what it is. And what is it like? Someone asked, how is it doing it? Well, it's fun because, again, it's getting me podcasting. Many of you probably know that I play the saxophone, that I'm a music producer, so I have the mics, I have the mixers, I have the audio software to edit all the stuff. I have the technical ability to do it, and I love doing it. We do it once a month, and we really couldn't even do it much more because Sam is full-time for the Dice Tower. I work full-time, and I'm putting in 25 to 30 hours a week on Game Boy Geek, just in the stuff that you're seeing now. And honestly, it's very hard for me even now to put in the time to do one Dice Steeple episode. It's a lot of work, but I'm having a blast because it really is something different to talk about life and how life interacts with games. And I really love that. I feel very led to do that. It's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work. I mean, most people don't realize, if Sam and I have an episode, actually we're recording this Wednesday, and it's going to go up this weekend. We're going to be talking about the Asmodee price increase and how does that affect the gaming community, and what are the reactions to this, and what's causing these different reactions of consumerism that's causing these people to go irate over these different things. So it's going to be a good conversation. But even that episode, so Wednesday night, I'll get home from work at 6 o'clock, right? And we'll record. I'll get set up in here. I got to transform the entire studio from video to audio. That takes about a half hour. And then we got to record. We've got to plan and prep, right? So there's about 1 to 2 hours at least that goes into prepping and planning and researching for the episode, putting our thoughts together, looking up things to reference. Then we've got the recording, which usually takes 90 minutes, even though it's only about a 40-minute show, because we do intros and outros and we talk about things a little bit sometimes beforehand. We talk a little bit afterwards. And then it's about 3 hours of editing to get down to a 40-minute show. I edit out a lot of the ums and ahs that I can. I try to take out any dead spots I can. Plus, there's different noises I try to take out. I try to make it as good sounding as possible. I like to do things in high quality, and it's a lot of work. So for one 30 to 40-minute podcast, you're talking about almost 8 hours worth of work by the time you're done. And that's a lot of work. That's a full day's work. For me, it's a lot. So I like doing it. I love doing it. I'll probably be doing it for a while longer, but it is a lot of work. So it's fun, though. It's a blast. And doing it with Sam is fun. So when I see him at the conventions, we have even more things to talk about. So that's the Dice Steeple. Let's see what else we've got here. What are your thoughts on expansions for Baseball Highlights 2045? Can you rank them in order that you would get them? Good question. One thing with these expansions is almost all of them except one are pretty much the same. And what I mean by the same is you can take them all and just mix them in with the free agent deck. I'm a big fan of whenever you have expansions, especially if it's a card game, if in the expansion it just gives you more variability and you just mix everything in and there's no new rules, and if there are new rules, they're just on the cards. It doesn't give the game any more complexity, just gives you more choices. I like that. And that's what all these expansions do. So I love them all. If I were to pick, you can't just pick one because they all do things a little bit differently. What I would say to you, though, is if you're going to get one, you might as well get them all. And I'm just being honest here because if you're not sure if you like the game, buy the base game, see if you like it. If you're in love with it, I mean, honestly, I think these days we are so much the cult of the tomorrow that we buy a game already thinking of the expansion. And I'll say the 60 free agents that come with the base game will allow you to play that game easily over 25 times without even feeling like you're sick of those free agents coming up. And for me, that's a good value. Now, with that being said, if you want more variability, sure, buy them. I would buy them all. If you've played it over someone's house and you really like it and it's something that you're really going to love and you think you're going to be playing it for ages, buy the Super Deluxe version, which has all the expansions in it. If not, then just buy the base game and then get them afterwards. But you'll probably... I can't really say one's better than the other because they're all just equally good in their different ways. One has the errors, one has the more robots, one has the fielding. And quite honestly, I think they all go together well together. Because if you buy just one, it will kind of it'll kind of skew the free agent deck. So honestly, the only one that's different is the coaches. It's the one I like. It's not the one I like the least. It's the one I play the least. Because that one adds another layer of complexity where you're drafting and you're deciding whether to use them. And I would only play those with experienced players. And most of the time I'm playing this with new people. So the coaches expansion would be the only one I'd say wait on. But all the rest of them I'd say get pretty much right away if you think you're going to be playing it a long time. But again, the ones in the base game will keep you playing it for a long time. Someone asked me about Roll for the Galaxy and Race for the Galaxy, and I know you're going to shoot me on this, but I have not played either of them. And I know they're popular games, but I can only play so many games, and space themes aren't something that I normally gravitate to. I have wanted to play them, I just haven't had the opportunity to. So I can't answer that one. Next one is, since your wife is a casual gamer, did she start out liking games, or did it take a few games to change her mind? I'm not so... This is a tough one. I'm not so sure she knew games. Like most people, I think they grew up playing Monopoly and Clue and such. And most people don't know what's out there. And we've been together about 8 years now, and we've been married. It'll be 6 years coming up here shortly. But I didn't have this wall of games when I first met her. I had, some, but not all of them. And so we slowly started playing them, and she would see me playing with my friends, and she'd get curious, and we played Ticket to Ride, and that was the one that she liked. We played Carcassonne, and I just kind of taught it to her, and she's the type of person that She does not like a game when she first plays it. She does not like learning new things just in general. She does not like change. So when I teach her a new game, I know the first game is going to be completely open-handed. We're going to play the thing completely open. I'm going to teach her what she could possibly do. And at the end of the first game, then she'll go, okay, let's play it again. And now this time I'll do it on my own. And then she'll still ask me questions, and I'll kind of help her through the second time. And by the time the second time's through it, she kind of knows it. And she'll know, even after the first time we've played it, even open-hand, whether it's something she wants to play again and try. Now, let's switch back to the screen here. You may be aware, but we just started that series, Gamer Tested Spouse Approved. So if you go to my website, it's right here. We're doing a series where we're, over the time, it wasn't just overnight that she liked all these games, but over the last, many years, it's up to like 43 games we counted last night, 43 games that she likes that I can pull out and we can play. And that's amazing. I said, you have more games that you like than than a lot of gamers have. And it's kind of crazy in that regard. So there's the answer. She it's really hard because she's different too, though. She doesn't necessarily like games right off the bat, but now she's getting to like them more and more. So I recommend that you check out the Gamer Tested Spouse Approved scenario here. It's a series that's going to be coming out about every Saturday. I'm going to try to make it. And this one is hilarious. The Unusual Suspects. She's hilarious, and there's some funny bloopers in there as well. So that's that one. Let's check out if there's any other questions coming up here. All right. Well, I think we've gotten through most of them. Now, while I'm waiting for, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat window. In the meantime, I'm just going to rummage on about the Kickstarter things. So for the Kickstarter goals, we've had a lot of the reward, a lot of the non-physical rewards have gone out. This is one of them. The live Q&A was the stretch goal. The closed Facebook group. Anybody who put backed $10, the Facebook group or higher, have gotten access to the private Facebook group. I've been posting all sorts of things there. If you haven't yet gone in there, you go to your updates and your messages in your Kickstarter. If you have backed the level that you get it, you will have gotten an update with a link to try to join, and I will admin you through and get you in. I've been posting all sorts of things in there. A lot of times you'll get videos early. So for many of the days of the week, maybe at least 3 of the days of the week, I put up a video a day earlier than the public, so you get to see it before everybody else does. I've been putting out also little different things, some surveys and such, so we're using that. The people who got the inserts, I've gotten all your information, all your surveys, and those are going out to insert here. He's starting to get ready to work on those. Some of the custom promos have been showing up here a little bit, but I'm still waiting for many more. Again, it's probably going to take us to August, as we mentioned in the Kickstarter, to fulfill all of the physical cards that are coming. The credits levels, to get your names in the credits, I'm still waiting for one more survey to come up. And by the end of, I think April was the time frame I said we'd get that done. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll be putting the names in the credits. And we have another question. Back to Time Stories. Does the 4 to 5 hour game session with all the expansions or just the base game? So the expansion is essentially just another scenario. And so when I say it's 4 to 5 hours, that's per scenario. At least that was my experience. So when you buy the base game, you get Asylum. That's the scenario Asylum. And you'll get that. And again, that will take 4 to 6 hours. And then when you buy an expansion, the first expansion was Marcy Case. And you'll get that. And again, it's a brand new scenario. You just use the board and the components that came with the base game. And again, that scenario itself is also, say, 4 to 6 hours. So each one has been about that up now. All right. Any other questions? We've been going for about 45 minutes. I said these would be 30 to 60 minutes. If I don't see any more questions here in the next minute or so, we'll end it, and we'll look forward to have another one of these soon. And I look forward to your feedback. Also, like normal, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, to see how things are going. So we'll wait another minute here, and we'll talk about one more thing. All right. So again, just to tell you up here, there's this is the iTunes to my podcast. This is the RSS link to the podcast, and of course, you know where to find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All right. Well, with that being said, I think it's time to close this down. It was a great time chatting with you guys, and I'll see you next time, probably next month.